right, everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you here today. This is a follow-up show. If you didn't check in last week, that's okay. I'm going to link back to that show, which was episode 3344. Maybe you can check it out after today's show. But I want to go over how to detox obesogenic chemicals from your body in order for you to be able to lose weight forever. So remember, if the reason you were harboring all of this extra weight and your body was very stubborn with allowing it to come off, there could be far more reasons than just you taking in too many calories or not moving enough. But as we spoke about last week, this is, again, all of these are clinically verified. When you are exposed to parabens and phthalates and microplastics and xylene and benzenes and so many other things, your body is going to most likely be more inflamed. When it's more inflamed, what happens? It holds more water. So let me dive into today's show now that I prefaced it a little bit, and I'm going to give you 6 specific ways to reduce these obesogens. Now, obesogenic chemicals are just chemicals that are man-made that are now coming into your body through water that you're drinking, air that you're breathing, food that you're consuming, cleaning products, all sorts of different things in your home. I've got a lot of podcasts on this as well. I teach it very much in depth in the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute as well. So let's dive in though. Let's start to talk about this and all the different chemicals that you can be exposed to. So the first thing that we always talk about is clean air. Then we talk about clean water. And then we talk about clean food, right? You're breathing air all day long. So wherever you are, bedroom, 8 hours a night, good idea to have an air filter. Now, the nice thing is the air filters we recommend, you can move it anywhere in the house during the day. So check those out at stephencabral.com/resources. All my favorite companies are there. There's like 120 different companies for everything under the sun that I use my family in our practice. All right. So good clean air filter, right? That's a big one. And then when we talk about, well, we want clean water, of course, right? Because then water, hopefully we're drinking somewhere around 8 to 12 glasses a day, about half our body weight in ounces per day. So what do we want? Oh, we want a water filter. I used to recommend all sorts of different water filters. Now I just recommend reverse osmosis and ideally adding the minerals back in. Some of them add the minerals back in. Sometimes you have to use the drops. That's the best way to do it. If you can add on a hydrogen water ionizer, even better. But you want, what's more important than hydrogen is clean water, okay? And the hydrogen water ionizers are not good water filters. They have a one-stage, single stage. So you can see exactly what I use at stephencabral.com/hydrogen-water. I've done all the research for you. I did all the tests myself in my house to actually verify what the science says. And again, that was enough for me. We'll see if it's enough for you. So then we look at clean food. Well, what's clean food? Clean food is looking at the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. If you can't buy all organic, what you want to do is purchase organic for the Dirty Dozen, because those 12 foods, and there's more than that, but those 12 foods, you can't wash off the pesticides. It's in the food itself. It goes right into the skin. So, and you don't want to peel the skin. I mean, how do you peel a strawberry, right? It's going to be pretty challenging. So you want to get organic for those, or don't eat those because they're just loaded with glyphosate and pesticides and herbicides, of course. And then the Clean 15, if you can't purchase all organic because it's more expensive, I totally get it. The Clean 15, you could actually purchase conventional. There might be a little less micronutrients, but at least you're not getting all of the chemicals from the herbicide-based sprays. Okay, and then we can go down the rabbit hole. We can start to look at mycotoxins in foods and much more. I have shows on mycotoxins, so we'll try to link some of those up at stephencabral.com/3351 along with today's show notes. All right. After you've done that part, the next thing for me is moving into what can we look at in terms of our bath-based products. So the things that you put on your skin. Easiest way to check to see if your product that you're putting on your skin or shampoo or any of those things is clean or not is to go to ewg.org. And then just click on Skin Deep. And they've got a whole array of products that you can search, and you can find out if yours is a higher quality or not, meaning now a cleaner product or not. They actually give them ratings. So it's not the end all be all, because sometimes they don't have all the products in there or all the ingredients in there, but it's pretty good. And so it's worth certainly checking out. So again, I just want to reiterate that all of these are on previous shows. I talk about it in the Rain Barrel Effect. That book is free at stephencabral.com/free book. So you can check all of these out in much more depth. Okay, so that's the first part. And what I want to go over now, though, is the toxins that were already in your body. So what do we do with the ones that are already there? Well, the goal is we need to open up those detox pathways. And I have a free course in this that, again, if you're serious, this will really help you lose the pounds. And it's free. The course is free. Go to stephencabral.com/courses. Okay? Head there, click on the detox course. It's a couple hours long. It will teach you everything that you need to know about liver detox pathways, the lymphatic system, the kidneys. It will tell you the ingredients that you use. Really, really simple. And again, all free. All right. So what we're trying to do is this, though. We're trying to use our methylated B vitamins and certain minerals like selenium, and we're using amino acids like glutamine, and those are going to help ramp up what's called phase 1 detoxification. So it's really great. It helps the liver as your body's filtering. I'll show you your liver again. So we've got my buddy here, Walter, and as your body is filtering toxins, it all moves through this bright red organ. Not bright red, it's a dark red organ because it's filled with blood. And it's filtering all the blood in your body about every 10 minutes or so, 6 to 10 minutes. It depends on how quickly it's moving through, whether you're exercising, etc. And so what happens, though, is that is ultimately where it's going to catch a lot of these toxins. It's like a car filter, right? So when you're driving down the highway, you have the air conditioning on, there's a filter trying to catch a lot of that smog. And so what happens is that's the first phase. The second phase, after it's broken it down, it needs to turn it into what's called a water-soluble metabolite. And so what it needs are antioxidants, so because it's creating a free radical inside there, but what that needs is sulfur-based amino acids. I'm trying to think of like the best and easiest way to say this. The greatest way to get these are through cruciferous vegetables, broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. What's another one? Bok choy that I very much enjoy. All of these help to increase phase 2 detoxification, but also garlic and onions, if you're able to consume those, can help with phase 2. For nutritional supplements, sulforaphane, N-acetylcysteine, taurine, glutamine, all of these can help to create more glutathione. So all of this is very, very helpful for that. All right. Next, I want to talk about gut health. Because if we don't improve gut health, what happens is this. We're eating better foods, but a lot of the pathogens that might be in our gut, call it bacteria, or candida, or parasites, etc., can continue to create inflammation in our gut. And that inflammation does what? Well, it can make us to hold more water weight, right? It can also create more cortisol. And if we create more cortisol, it could also lead to more estrogen dominance, which certainly nobody wants, because estrogen dominance can feel like symptoms of low mood, irritability, poor sleep, oilier or acnetic-based skin, and much more. So we want to improve that. Best way to see if you have gut dysfunction is running what's called the gut bundle or the big 3. You can find those at stephencabral.com/shop. And that'll take you right over to Equilife, and you'll be able to work with that. If you're not able to run labs, you could complete what's called the CBO protocol to rebalance your gut. And of course, you can work with a good qualified practitioner near you as well. But we want to really improve overall gut function. And by doing that, what we do is we seal up the gut if it is permeable, but really we're able to absorb more of what we eat. That's really important as well. Plus, of course, we have less inflammation. All of these are to reduce inflammation. The next one is this. Even though exercise is phenomenal and I want you to exercise, not everybody really sweats when they exercise. And sometimes it's an intensity thing. Some people, their body is imbalanced in terms of electrolytes. Sometimes they're in kind of more of what we call the calcium shell, and their body's not sweating. It's kind of holding everything. But we need to get you to sweat. And one of the best ways to do this is sauna. Because sauna is essentially a passive activity. It does raise the heart rate to about zone 2, which is amazing for cardiovascular conditioning. It burns about 100 calories every 10 minutes or so. And what it's going to enable you to do is give your liver a little bit of a rest, give your kidneys a rest, which are 2 of the main detox organs, and your lungs to a tertiary base degree. But the skin is going to allow for a lot of these toxins to come out, which is amazing. So it's one of the healthiest things that you can do. And I can't recommend infrared sauna as the highest level, but great Finnish saunas are amazing as well. And I'd never say that that's not great too. And so again, you can find all the different saunas that I love at stephencabral.com/resources, but I'm sure you know a few of your favorites as well. All right, 2 more to go. Optimizing sleep. I know that this one doesn't really make sense, but it's not just our body, but it's our brain. So think about it. When we are always on, our brain and nervous system are always on as well. So there is something called a natural diurnal rhythm that humans should live by. And it's basically, we can be on from 6 in the morning to 6 at night, 7 in the morning to 7 at night, but we need about 12 hours on and about 12 hours off. And we don't want every hour we're on to be, racing against the clock. That's not ideal either. But we really do need to give our brains and bodies some downtime. And so sleep, if we're at least in bed for 8 hours, right? Maybe we get 7.5 hours of sleep, but if we're in bed for 8 hours, average human needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and detrimental effects start to take place when humans get 6 or less hours of sleep per night. So now, of course, we want more deep sleep and REM sleep, but that's not today's episode. We want to be able to calm the body and the brain. And what that does is better level out inflammation in the brain and body, helps with blood sugar levels, and so much more. And of course, if we get good sleep, what's going to happen? Well, then we're going to have more energy the next day, and we'll actually want to do all of the things that we need to in order to improve our overall health. So big advocate of that. Breath work before bed, journaling, the 3-2-1 formula for deep sleep are all extremely helpful. And then, of course, there's great nutritional supplements like the Sleep Help Support protocol. And that's, again, at stephencabral.com/shop. All right, the last one I wanted to share with you here today is additional ongoing support to remove these obesogens from the body. It might take 8 to 12 weeks or so, right? Maybe sometimes even a little bit longer. But if you have high heavy metals, I recommend a heavy metal detox protocol, because these things, so we'll call them things such as chlorella and to a lesser degree spirulina, but many others are going to help go in and actually bind to and remove the heavy metals. And then what's going to happen is they're going to bring them to the gut. We use a biofilm disruptor called fluorofilm that helps to remove the biofilm around the inside of the gut, which grows over time when there's a lot of inflammation and pathogens that also can contain heavy metals. So we remove that. Again, this is gently, these are just natural enzymes. And then we're using something called a universal binder, which is a low histamine, very gentle binder that's going to bind these things up as your liver's putting them in your intestines and safely remove them from your body. So that's called the daily detox support protocol. And it's a really nice 1-2 punch. Very easy to take. You could take 2 binders upon waking if you'd like, 2 of the universal binder, the capsules, and you could just take 2 of the daily detox support with with breakfast or dinner. Very, very simple to use, and you're going to get the results really that you're looking for. So that's an ongoing one that is great to use with sauna, with exercise, and everything that you may be doing. But others may need something called the daily thyroid support. If they have lower thyroid levels, let's say your TSH is a 2.5 or above, that's functionally hypothyroid. And so what we want to look at is something to give you a little bit of a boost, but also inside of that product, because remember, products are just names, right? What's inside of there is actually ashwagandha for stress. And I've got a whole podcast on ashwagandha and thyroid if anybody's worried about ashwagandha and their thyroid. But it has other things as well, natural forms of iodine. Iodine can be really helpful for people that have mercury or aluminum or bromine, or they're exposed to larger amounts of chlorine, because those start to displace iodine. And actually getting in some natural potassium iodine is a great way to be able to remove those from the body as well, to actually displace those and give your thyroid back what it needs. So big fan of that. When the heavy hitters are needed, you can use something called liposomal glutathione, but I recommend starting slow with that, just a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon maximum. And you can use that. Typically, I recommend it for a lot of people if you're just starting at bedtime, only because if you start to feel a little brain fog from it, from any greater amounts of detoxification, then that will be a little bit easier in your body because you'll be going to bed in a couple hours. All of these are available. You can find them at stephencabral.com/shop. As I've always said, we try to open source everything. We show you all the labs we use, all the protocols we do, like the heavy metal detox, the functional medicine detox, everything. And then you can decide, obviously, the right company, the right practitioner for you. But hopefully this was helpful. My goal is just to continue to up-level all of our knowledge and to really share with you what we've seen over the last 25 years work in private practice. And of course, we always want to hear from you. So let us know in the comments. And thank you so much for tuning in, being a part of this community. Do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.